You know, we hear the word firewall all the time, right? But what is it actually doing back there, behind the scenes? Well, it's one of the most fundamental, yet kind of misunderstood pieces of our digital security. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this silent guardian of our networks.
Okay, think about your computer, your phone, whatever you're watching this on. The second you connect to the internet, you're basically flinging open a door to this massive, global, public space. So the real question is, who or what are you letting in? Is that door just standing wide open, completely unguarded?
And that's exactly where the firewall comes in. I mean, it's not a physical wall, obviously, but it's a digital one. Its entire job, its whole purpose, is to be the vigilant gatekeeper for every single piece of data flowing in and out of your network. It's constantly making these split-second decisions based on a set of security rules. It's basically the bouncer at the front door of your digital life.
But this technology didn't just pop up out of nowhere, fully formed. To really understand how a modern firewall protects you, we kind of have to see how it evolved. So let's go back to the beginning, to the very first generation, and see how this whole idea of digital defense was born.
This timeline really tells a fascinating story. It's like a digital arms race. We kick things off in the 90s with these simple packet filters. Then we evolved to smarter, stateful firewalls in the early 2000s. Then comes the really powerful next-gen stuff in 2008, and now we're at AI-driven defenses. Each step forward was a direct response to attackers getting more and more clever.
So the very first firewalls were all about the basics. They were called packet filtering firewalls. And a great way to think about them is like a mailroom clerk who only looks at the to and from addresses on an envelope. It checks the IP address, that's the computer's mailing address, and the port number, which is like the specific office or department at that address. But, and this is key, it has absolutely no idea what's written inside the letter.
And that, right there, was their fatal flaw. These firewalls were stateless, and that's a super important word here. It means they had zero memory. Every single data packet was a complete stranger. It couldn't tell if a packet was a legit part of a conversation already in progress or a malicious one just pretending to be innocent. And this, as you can imagine, created a massive exploitable security gap.
So as the threats online got way more sophisticated, our digital defenses had no choice but to get smarter, right? This pressure forced the evolution into the second generation of firewalls, and it was a huge leap forward in terms of intelligence and what they could actually do.
This evolution pretty much happened in two key steps. First, and this is a big one, firewalls developed a memory. They could now track the context of an entire digital conversation, not just lonely, isolated packets. And second, a new type of firewall came along that acted as a middleman, creating this really important layer of separation between you and the wild west of the public internet.
So that first step gave us the stateful firewall, which was the perfect answer to that whole stateless problem. Instead of a mail clerk with no memory, you now have a security guard who actually remembers who they've been talking to. It keeps a running list of all the active connections, so when a new data packet shows up, the firewall can instantly check, hey, does this belong to a conversation I've already approved?
Now, that second big leap forward was the proxy firewall. This one works a little bit differently. Think of it like a really good corporate receptionist. You don't call the outside world directly. You tell the receptionist who you need to talk to, and they make the call for you. This is great because it totally shields your identity. The server on the other end only ever talks to the proxy, never directly to you.
Okay, so stateful and proxy firewalls were huge upgrades, but the internet was just getting even more complex. Attackers figured out they could sneak malicious stuff through standard web ports, bypassing these older firewalls. The world needed a new standard, a new hero, and it arrived in the late 2000s.
The key thing to understand about the next-generation firewall, or NGFW for short, is that it isn't just one thing. It's more like a security multi-tool. It takes that stateful inspection we just talked about and bundles it together with a whole suite of other advanced security functions, all packed into one device.
And just look at what it brings to the table. Application awareness. That's huge. It means it knows you're using Facebook or Dropbox, not just that you're using a web browser. It has a built-in intrusion prevention system, or IPS, that actively spots and blocks threads in real time. And maybe most critically, it can decrypt and inspect encrypted traffic, which was a massive blind spot for older firewalls.
You know, this table really lays out the whole story of firewall evolution perfectly. You see, packet filtering was simple, but it was stateless, no context. So, stateful firewalls came along and added that context, but they couldn't see what the application was doing. Proxies could see the application content, but sometimes that slowed things down.
The NGFW tries to do it all, inspecting the apps, the users, and the content to directly fix the problems of everything that came before. But of course, the evolution doesn't just stop there. This arms race between the good guys and the bad guys is relentless. So what's the absolute latest weapon in our digital arsenal? Well, the answer, maybe not so surprisingly, is artificial intelligence.
Yep, in 2020, the first machine learning-powered NGFW was introduced. And frankly, it's a game changer. Instead of just relying on a big list of known threats, it uses machine learning to analyze how the network is behaving, spot anything weird or out of the ordinary, and proactively block brand new, never-before-seen threats, what we call zero-day attacks. And it does it all in real time.
So this leaves us with a really critical final thought. We are now using AI to defend ourselves. But you can bet the attackers are also using AI to build smarter, more sophisticated threats. This isn't the end of the story. It's just the next chapter in this constantly escalating digital war. So the question isn't if our defenses will need to evolve again, but how fast they can do it.